Welcome to the Fit Dads podcast. My name is Ryan Dutton. I'm joined by Brad Thompson and Pete Swatkins today. Back on the podcast for a second time.
Back again.
Yeah. We've just done a ridiculous training session together, haven't we? Round 2 of our triple threat session. How did you boys find it?
Expensive.
Is that because you had to buy
Basically,
lunch?
yeah. I was slowest rower, which has never happened to me ever. But then I forgot that you two were like giants and powerful and training cardio more often than
I've done a lot of rowing in the past year with the high rock stuff, so I've got my efficiency down now.
Yeah, that's the biggest row I've done in a long time. So, dinner's on me, boys.
Appreciate that. It was a good. What did you have? Chicken flatbread. You had
station burger.
Burger.
It's lovely.
Controversial. Jacket potato, tuna, cheese and beans.
Oh.
Yeah, it's
tuna and beans is a weird combo, isn't it?
all in. Just get it in.
Shove it all in.
Yeah, it's chalk and cheese. You either love it or you hate it.
A bit closer to you. I think I've never had that combo before. Tuna and beans. I can imagine the tuna almost getting lost in the beans a bit and not really knowing it's there. Do you mix it all in together?
All together. Yeah. Just shovel it in.
I think it's thought of warm tuna, but then if you have like a tuna
Toasty.
tuna toasty, tuna cheese toasty or patini, it's nice.
Yeah.
I'm into that. Yeah, that's a good show.
But the session, I think itself wasn't as hard as the first one we did. I feel like the first one was a lot tougher.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why, but I feel like we all went out with the intention of trying to kill each other. That was pretty much it. And then second time round, we were like, right, scale it back a little bit. Brad did his best today to try and kill us with his little EMOM, High Rocks EMOM. But
so it's guessing rep ranges for like, especially anyone who's ever done an EMOM before. It's all guesswork. It's like, get it done and then you can use whatever rest you've got. Nobody rested. We were just like station.
12-minute AMRAP.
Yeah, 12-minute AMRAP. Horrible.
But isn't it interesting, all working in the fitness industry, to understand the scalability or the rep range that you want to get in? Because I've done it before where I've set off a 40-minute EMOM with a client and got it completely wrong. And after 12 minutes, we've blown out, both of us. And, he's been nearly vomiting in the corner. I've been like hanging on for dear life thinking I've buggered this one up big time. Yeah. And it's hard sometimes to gauge how long it's going to take to execute, even for us as PTs. Sometimes it's
a tough mental battle in the session because I have this thing where when I've overcooked it a little bit, and I know I have, there's that mental battle of like, do I regress and give in and accept defeat, or do I just fucking get my head down and try and power through this?
Depends if lunch is on the line, isn't it?
If lunch is on the line, once that first one was out the way, I took my foot off the gas a little bit.
It were going to be 50 quid if Ryan would have had his way. It'd be 50 quid all in.
But yeah, I think it is difficult to gauge that EMOM, isn't it? And you're going to get it wrong sometimes, but the overhand thing is, if you do overcook it, don't be afraid to scale back a little bit, for sure.
No, we should have scaled it back.
No sick buckets today, thankfully.
No, thankfully not.
And we've got Neubria,
this
brand that you brought along, Pete, which is it your friend who owns this?
Yes, it's an old mate of mine, Johnny Kennedy. Shout out to Johnny if you're listening. He set up Neubria a couple of years ago, and they do a host of supplementation, natural caffeine drinks, collagen shots, multivitamin shots. So I have their multivitamin drink every morning as well. And then we've just teamed up that we're going to kind of support some of our clients with some kind of natural caffeine energy drinks, 160 milligrams of caffeine, I think, and then a wind down and pause drink as well, which is quite relaxing. I find it's quite nice when I'm really busy to have a play drink in the day to give me that buzz, and then also sometimes in the evening just to have a wind down as well. So I thought I'd bring them along and you boys can have a few cans to try in the next couple of days.
It's really good. I've just tried to play, is it the pause? I've had one of the play, which is you kind of...
We had in the session.
You upper, and then you downer, if you want to refer it that way, is your pause. And this pause is actually, the taste is really nice. I actually think I prefer, taste-wise, the pause. But what's it, 160 milligrams of caffeine, which is like your standard energy drink, basically, isn't it, in the play. And then there's your relax as well, which is, cool. I like the branding. I think it looks good. If I'm being honest with you, I prefer a bigger can, though. That's why I like my monsters and stuff like that, because I'm going to get almost like a big can. Maybe they can... it's more like a Red Bull, isn't it, I guess, in terms of its... size.
An R5 edition. Is that what we're talking? R5 partnered with Neubria.
Extended Neubria version. But thank you for bringing those down, mate. They look awesome. And I'll let you know how relaxed I feel after this.
For all the sweet by the end of the pod, it's worth it.
As a science geek as well, the ingredients are pretty cool. Like I've spoke quite highly about L-theanine, which is sort of a nice little neutralizer for any caffeine. It does chill you out nicely. So Yeah. That'd feel pretty strange though if you cracked it open at like 9 p.m. But you could definitely do that. Yeah.
Yeah,
But there's a lot of these on the market right now. We were talking about James Smith and Chris Williamson's. What's that one called? New Tonic. That's right. Yeah. What's this one called? Neubria. Yeah. He must have been screwing a little bit when that one came out, and there's some crossovers. I think they've gone more for the nootropic side of things, haven't they? With like the brain and cognitive stuff as well. What was his thoughts on that?
I hadn't spoken to him about that actually. No, I haven't had the time to. But I know that Neubria are offering a bit more of a wider product range. Right. Currently available in Holland and Barrett, stuff like that.
Okay, so, really?
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Very
and
cool.
they're looking to get for their route to market. I believe they're trying to get into some of maybe I assume the kind of the coffee shops in the fridges. You know, when you see like the natural drinks, the innocents.
Yeah.
Innocent drinks. I think they're trying to kind of disrupt that market with these naturals.
So it's somewhere in between like your green shake and like your hard monster, essentially. Yeah.
Fair. Sounds good.
Cool. No, thank you for bringing them down, mate. Awesome.
Appreciate it.
So the theme of today's pod is going to be Room 101. If you're not familiar with Room 101, it was a TV show back on the day, wasn't it? And it was basically all the things you love and hate in life, essentially. We're going to limit it today just to the fitness industry. I mean, in life, we could go on that might be a 24-hour podcast, that one might be here all day. But we're going to limit it to things that we love and hate inside the fitness industry. Anyone want to go first, chaps?
I'm thinking guest first, maybe, potentially.
Right. Throw out your first one. We'll go one thing that we all hate, shall we start with? Something that we all hate about the fitness industry, and then we'll go on to things we love. All right.
Where do I start? So my first idea into Room 101 would be bodybuilding vests. Where you can see nipples. So the really stringy ones.
The global gym.
I'm a big vest fan. I know you are as well when you're working out. Like a rugby vest, I'm a massive basketball vest fan. People always ask me what basketball team I support. I don't care. I just like the way that they sit on me, if I'm being truthful.
Just fit well.
They fit well, and I feel like they look good. But a bodybuilding Gold's Gym where it's really thin over the nip, chest out, low sides. I just can't do them. They make me cringe.
I've seen the title. Pete Swats hates nipples.
No comment.
I'd actually prefer to see someone topless training rather than a Gold's Gym stringer vest, because it just... Oh god, you can go down a rabbit hole, but it does scream knobhead a little bit, doesn't it? Like, you know what I mean? It screams. That guy probably doesn't know how to lift. He's like, it's normally a yellow one, isn't it? Like, it's the yellow one, and the guys. What I always see from the side profile is a bit of a saggy tit as well. Like there's no like nice defined pec. It's normally like a little bit of a floppy tit at the side.
But do you want your nip out or don't you? Do you want to be topless or don't you? Do you want to wear a t-shirt or don't you? The vest is neither. At least in CrossFit, you either shirt off, rig out. Yeah. I don't care. Here's my body. Or a t-shirt or basketball vest. It's on. It's hidden. I'm going. They're kind of in between. It's like, where are you going? Do you want to be naked or not?
It almost, because the nipples are out so clearly with the stringer vest, it almost draws more attention to them than if you had like a top off, doesn't it? You're almost like, oh god. All right.
I can't stop looking.
Is this the male equivalent to a sports bra? Is this what we're thinking?
No, because a sports bra is compact and it's for sports, isn't it? It's
has a purpose.
It doesn't draw attention to that, but a stringer vest will just automatically draw attention to your nipples because they're so on display. And because they're so thin and it comes quite low, that little scoop, you just can't cover them up. And when you're training, it kind of falls forward a little bit. Before you know it, you just got some bloke who's essentially got his chest out and just covering his core. It is an odd piece of kit, isn't it? But I think it looks great on guys who are huge.
Bodybuilders.
Actual bodybuilders who are jacked to shit. And your Olympia-style bodybuilders can probably pull it off. Yeah.
I'm happy to strip that in the bin.
Down at the gym, probably after he's trained for 3 months only, probably can't pull it off.
It's not in my kit bag.
No. I feel like we're very quickly going to throw that in the bin, aren't we?
Yeah, that's not going to go. Can get in Room 101, that. Yeah. Brad, what's yours?
Things that we hate? Now, I obviously work in a gym. I know Ryan and Pete, you don't. Pete's very much on the road. Ryan works, out of your own studio. The things that I see when it comes to leaving weights on pieces of kit is absolutely appalling, just from basic housekeeping. And when you see it with your own eyes and Deadlifts are the worst, when they just sort of look at a bar, just walk away from it, and you never know at the minute whether they could have gone for a wee, they could be ordering some food. So you sort of leave it a bit, and you're like, that bar's been there for half an hour, and no one's come back to it. And I'd like to couple that with inconsiderate supersets, which is even worse, because then you never know, is that bar left and somebody's doing a superset across the other side of the gym? It's like, can we not use any common sense here and just do supersets that are pretty close together, please? Because if you've got a bar there, but then you're doing some pec flies somewhere else, and supersets don't make sense. I'm like, why are you doing that superset? Why? What's the point?
Regardless of whether it makes sense or not, you should have enough nous in your programming and knowledge to be able to program things in your training that aren't disruptive to other people in the gym. To be honest, full disclosure, I've made that mistake in the past where I've been on 2 bits of kit, and I'm like, when you're a bit younger and you're a bit more naive and you're not as respectful of people in the gym, I've done a few of those mistakes. But I think as you get older, you should have that kind of ability to program your workout so it's not as disruptive.
Yeah, I mean, going to the gym myself as a user, I'm a big fan of supersets with regards to time. So if I've only got 45 minutes, I'll generally superset, but I'll try and do a superset on the same piece of kit.
Yeah.
So I might do a dumbbell press and a dumbbell fly, so I've got my push-pull chest. I might do a goblet squat and RDL type thing, so I'll be considerate of this superset. But you were saying, you wouldn't do a pec fly and a deadlift on other sides of the gym. It's completely inconsiderate.
Yeah.
And
I've seen it happen, Pete.
yeah, and I'm probably not well adverse to that because I'm not in a gym, so I don't see it as often. Big fan of supersets, but keeping it within your station.
Yeah, and then when you come to when I was gym floor staff and you used to have to walk up and you start stripping a bar down and someone just appears from nowhere, they're like, I'm still using that. It's like, mate, it's been half an hour. What have you been doing? You're not still using it. Like, why are you doing this?
But I suppose you've got a responsibility as a PT and an employee of the gym to say, well, time out, buddy.
It's just very easily one of the most annoying things from being in a gym environment where somebody just doesn't use basic etiquette and housekeeping. You shouldn't have to tell them. It's like, come on.
I agree. Coming back to the original thing of putting your weights away, there was a great video that went viral. I think I saw it on Instagram Reels, and it was a guy who had been watching a girl do some glute bridges, and she'd just done these glute bridges, and she'd got up to 120, 130 kilos, and then just walked off.
Yeah.
And left the barbell there. And he was quite a nice bloke, and he was very enthusiastic, by the way, and came running up to her, and I think he'd recorded it somehow on his phone.
I've seen this.
And he goes to the girl, excuse me, love, you've lifted your weights over there. Are you going to go and clean them up? And she goes, where have I left them? And she's playing really dumb. And then he goes, over there, it's really good etiquette to clean your weights, so I'm just letting you know. And she goes, okay. And he goes, are you going to go and do it then? And she goes, no. And then just walks off. And she just got rinsed in the comments. And my favourite comment was, someone just put, it made my blood boil the way she just went, no. And just walked off. Because it is so inconsiderate. I mean, fair play if you get caught out for it. I mean, I remember doing it years ago at a gym, and my head was spinning. I was doing some leg press, and I'd done it, and I was training with someone else. And I just out of been thinking ahead in the workout, I'd been thinking about our next exercise, got off the kit from the leg press, walked over there, and one of the PTs pulled me over and went, mate, you've left all your weights in there. I was like, oh, mate, I'm so sorry. You're right, I'm going to go back and clean that. And my head was just in a bad space. I was knackered, thinking about what else I was doing, went back and changed it. There was no sense of, no fucking chance am I clearing that up.
Yeah.
That's your mess now. Someone else can deal with that. It's so inconsiderate, isn't it? It's like, I'm going to make a mess in the gym. I'm going to make it very difficult for people to do what they want to do, and then you can go and clean it up. That makes my blood boil. It really does.
When I was managing, one of my staff actually got told by a member, that's your job, isn't it?
Oh, really?
That's when it does start to boil, doesn't it?
That member did not last long when I got my hands on him. Don't worry. They were told
that's
very
immediate.
quick.
Yeah, that's immediate. See you later kind of thing.
Yeah,
for me.
it's very hard to annoy me, but that's
your
it.
job.
Yeah. Especially if it's to me, you can have that chat. But if it's to a brand new PT who maybe they still think it is their job to tidy up after people, and I'm like, why are you thinking that that's the PT or the?
Do you know what I want to do? I want to go and get
job.
my black bin from around the back, empty it on his lawn, and go, oh, it's your job to clean up off your lawn. This is your property.
It's your property. Yeah.
I've just littered. Sorry, I made a mess. My apologies, but it's your job to clean up, is it not?
How did you know I did that?
Is it me next?
Yeah.
Two next.
Right. Client photo shoots. Fucking hell, don't get me started on this. We might have to do a whole podcast on this. Number one, right, your client doesn't want to do a photo shoot. You've convinced them they do. They don't want to do a photo shoot. They just want to get in shape. The photo shoot is purely for you and to promote your business. Plus, if you take anyone, I could take Pete right now. I could take a after picture. Sorry, I could take a before picture right now. Belly out, we're getting some bad lighting.
What are you saying?
I'd make you extend your gut a little bit. I'd feed you up on pizza, right? And I'd make you take a before picture. And then I'd take you into a professional studio, professional lighting, professional photography, professional editing, and I guarantee you would look better. Without any kind of program, any kind of training, any kind of nutrition, you would immediately look better. It's basically a big con. It's a huge con. And I think anyone who does the client photo shoots is just, they're swindling their services and their results a little bit. I really think they are, for sure. It's a big blood boiler for me, that. Now, don't get me wrong, I think some clients may come to you and say, I want to do a photo shoot. I want that. That's something that I do want. But I think most of the people who are doing these photo shoots have been convinced by their coach that it's a good thing to do. And it's only a good thing to do because it promotes the coach's business.
Yeah.
How long have you been sat on that?
Fucking ages, mate. So long. I've been chomping at the bit to get it into a episode.
You look relieved.
Do I?
I'm relieved to have got
Feel
out.
lighter.
To play devil's advocate a little bit, because I do like to do this. My old coach, Jack, and I will shout him out, Jack Haig, he's an amazing coach, and he works with other coaches. And I think as a coach, to get in the best nick of your life and to maybe do that photo shoot, that's what Jack specialises in. And he's fantastic at it. He's very, very good. It's a fantastic way for the coach to promote their own business because it's what they want to do for them. If someone didn't want to do it, you don't have to. When I was Jack's client, I went, I have no interest in doing a photo shoot. He's like, cool.
Yeah.
Wasn't married to it. It wasn't like, oh no, you have to do it. All my other clients are going to be there. He was just ethical and sound about it. So there is people who do it really well.
I will agree with that. I think if you're a coach in the fitness industry and you're doing it to promote your own business, it can work really well. Like photo shoots are good. It can show you've got the discipline. It's a nice image to put over your social media and website and marketing. But I think I see a lot of people who are just gem pop people who you can tell aren't really that into it either. You can see it even in the shots, they're just not, they don't want to be there.
And a lot of Gen Pop won't associate themselves with being able to do that, because for a lot of people that are on the start of their fitness journey, we see it a lot with a lot of people that we support that haven't got the confidence to go to the gym, certainly going to look at that and go, well, that's never going to be me, because they're not willing to make that sacrifice to train as intensely as those photo shoots require, and they don't want to look like that. So for a lot of people, depending on who they're selecting as their training provider, the three of us in the room, they'll look at that and go, well, that's too intense for me, and it'll put some people off. I think it'll put people off and go, I'm going to have to sacrifice too much of my life. I'm going to go all in. And for a lot of people, they just need those incremental steps to fundamental habitual change to make themselves a healthier person. Whereas that is a real, one of my later Room 101s is a full transformation. And that's quite difficult to sustain for a lot of Gen Pop people, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
I can already hear what the coaches who do this, I can already hear what they're saying. Well, that client, it built their confidence, and it was an amazing moment for them to, get their kit off and show off this physique. And maybe so, but I think that a lot of it is pushed by the coach more than anything else. It really is. They don't need to get their kit off to feel confident. We've had some ridiculous transformations here. Not once have I ever done a photo shoot. Those people went on to sustain that because it was done in a healthy way. It wasn't done over a short period of time. Yeah. I actively try and push longer on the transformations as well, especially when people are looking to lose weight, because it's a habit thing, it's a structure thing, it's a routine thing, things that don't stick over the space of 8 weeks. So yeah, I think the whole client photo shoot thing for me is a big Room 101.
I mean, that's true for you and your slogan, really. Everyday people, extraordinary results, that, they can maintain it. But
ordinary people, amazing results.
Amazing results.
That's it. Damn it. Almost.
Well, are you telling me I've got to cancel my cowboy theme client photo shoot now? I'm going to take my chaps back.
No, but I do agree with, like, I know Jack Craig as well. Yeah. Well, not personally, but I've followed him on Instagram, and I think he does some cool stuff with other coaches. He's kind of a guy in the space who's looking at getting other coaches prepped for the industry.
Yeah.
He's not in any way like a business mentor, but he's like, here's what you need to know about coaching. Here's what you need to do in order to kind of sell yourself, which I think is really good. And I like the stuff he puts out. I really do. So I think if you're a coach and you're doing photo shoots, fair enough. It's the gem pop people who, again, it's probably misleading as well. It really is from a visual point of view, and it just is a marketing ploy by a lot of clients. Yeah, for sure.
We're happy to lock that away, lads.
It's gone, mate.
It's gone.
I feel lighter. Right, should we go to things that we like and love in the fitness industry?
Brad, you want
I
to
don't mind.
start?
Yeah, I don't mind.
Yeah.
I really like coaches who charge for service rather than per hour. And the reason for that for me is, think about all the people we work with. And don't get me wrong, there is a time and a place for per hour, especially like potentially what Pete does with the corporate side of things. You might be there for a certain period of time. So there's obviously an hourly cost there. Whereas for PTs, the service-based style of it, people are not necessarily paying for your time, they are paying for your expertise. And if you can package that up in a nice service, you might spend more than 4 hours a month with them in terms of contacts and all that sort of stuff. They might not even need one-to-one sessions with you. I really like that, where people can package it up in a way where it's service-led rather than time-led. And I always use this analogy of having your house plastered. Like, if someone looked around my house and went, right, it's going to be this amount, that's how much it'll cost. Whereas if somebody said, oh, it's going to be 100 quid an hour, whatever, you might spend 50 hours doing that, and I'm raging.
Yeah.
Whereas if they go, oh yeah, this is a complete job, this is what it'll cost.
Yeah.
They could just drag the heels from an hourly rate perspective. Same with PT. They might not need you there all the time. So you just say, okay, here's the service that I can provide. What would you want? The hourly rate is potentially stitched into that. That comes from maybe knowing how you work and your audience and people you can best help and serve. But I just see it a lot. I just see the hourly rate a lot, and it's not to the client's detriment, but sometimes they ask, how much is it per hour? And I'm like, well, do you think an hour is going to solve your problem? And it's probably no. It's probably a service that's actually going to solve your problem.
I think everything can be whittled down to an hourly rate if you really break it down.
Yeah.
But I think there has to be so much more behind that. We were talking about hourly rates before, but the amount of stuff that is involved away from sessions and outside that time is phenomenal. And the more you can provide, the more that service just seems worth it for them.
And when you whittle it down to maybe a day rate, if you want to break that down to a day rate, they've not just got access to you for that 1 hour. Like, you could message me whenever. Like, obviously there's certain hours that I'm out of bounds, but most of the time I'm going to get back to you with usually a pretty good answer. And if I don't know, I'll find out.
What's the worst time you've been messaged? Any wild ones?
I once got straight after a night out from a client. Did you? At 3 o'clock on a Sunday morning.
Wow.
Feel like crap, mate. Just had a kebab. Look banging, to be fair. A great picture.
I sent you a picture as well. Yeah, I mean, that's as honest as you can get.
Yeah. And I woke up on Sunday morning and I'm like, what a weird message.
And I ordered a kebab straight away.
Yeah. Then he woke up on my doorstep. No, I didn't. But no, it's that's probably the weirdest time, but probably quite common for a lot of other coaches. But that would be a bit out of character for said person. But I've let you down, Brad.
Anything that you love in the fitness industry, Pete?
For me, I love full body functional weight sessions. So going against the bro split, I just like hitting every muscle group every time I go in the gym. Because I think that for the amount of time that some people go to gym, maybe once, twice, 3 times a week, if they go into the bro split, they're not hitting that muscle group for 7 or 8 days. I always say to a lot of our clients, if we're seeing you once a week, 168 hours in a week, I think, if my maths is correct. If you're seeing me for one, you've got 167 other hours not to be doing exercise. So in the 2 or 3 sessions, if I try and hit most muscle groups, then at least we're then going to be keeping you moving in every department twice, 3 times a week. So for me, I love full body functional sessions, just getting everything moving all of the time so that everything feels like it's progressing linearly rather than just focusing on shoulders and back. Because for me, there's only so much shoulders and back you can do before you fatigue a space. So as long as I hit each muscle group once, or my clients hit that once or twice, I feel that that's a really good measure of their progress, because they're progressing nicely with us. So for me, full body functional sessions is something I love in the industry.
For the average person, I think that's a really good setup and a great way to start, isn't it? Frequency over volume of a muscle group.
And don't get me wrong, the bro split for people who are bodybuilding or in 5-6 times a week, because they might hit a 5-day repeat, so they might be hitting it twice a week in every 7 days, is okay. But for Gen Pop that we deal with here at the Fitness Truck, full body all the way.
Ideal for your business model. Absolutely. And I think how many times, going back to the bro split, do you see people on this 5-day split maybe leave legs till a Friday and then I finished work early, I'll go straight to the pub, no legs this week. There you go. That's where you see the Toblerone. Yeah. Or my client Robin calls it the warning triangle.
The warning triangle.
And then these little strings of cotton from the end. Well,
I like that. Yeah, I think I've done every split imaginable in the past. I've done your chest, back, shoulders, arms, legs. I've done your push-pull legs, still do some of that now. But I think there's a certain level of muscle mass you're going to be able to build doing that full body split. And for most people who are looking to get in shape and trim, I think it's a great start. I really do. And we do very similar stuff here. But I think that there's then a point, there's a crossover where you go, right, if we're going to just take everything to a bit more of an advanced level, what can we start battering a little bit more? And I think if what I tend to do is if let's say I've got someone training 4 days a week and they want to build a lot of muscle, but they also want to build the fitness and get in shape, I do like a push-pull legs. Then the fourth session in the week is like a conditioning session where it's hitting everything. It's your full body session. Yep. So you're essentially hitting things a couple of times a week, one of them being really intense in that one area, and then one's a bit of a top up. Yeah. That for me is a great kind of progression from that full body split.
Yeah. Well, I've got a client at the moment, couple, we'll train them 3 times a week. And on their board, we have Monday, Thursday, Friday. So we'll do a weight session, a Metcon, and a conditioning. So we're kind of doing your pure weights, your weights with conditioning, and then your pure conditioning. So we're hitting kind of, again, all 3 without the bro split. But I'm a big zone 2 fan. So getting in that zone 2 training, I think, most important muscle in your body is your heart, and people neglect that enough. So getting that cardio element with your Metcon split and your weight split for me is the ideal for our client base, certainly.
Yeah.
I sense that Ryan might have some zone 2 beef when I saw his eyebrows go up.
I've had my own thoughts around zone 2. Not that I don't think it's good, I think it's great. I just really struggle to do it.
It's the hardest one to do. It's boring.
Yeah, it is. I can't. I mean, I was telling you this before you came on the podcast. I went out with the intention, nice, steady, zone 2, 8K. Don't do a half marathon. Don't do it. 2 hours later, half marathon.
23K.
There you go. Yeah. I just can't not push things. I think it's detrimental for sure. It fatigues you and it's not good. And but I think when it's yourself, you are quick to ignore your own advice. When it's a client, you're very quick to be like, right, I can see where this is going, and they'll respect your opinion and trust you. But when you're programming your own stuff, sometimes it's difficult.
It's also when you're doing zone 2s for clients as well. Kind of. I wouldn't make you do anything that I wouldn't do. Is a lot of our philosophy for all 3 of us. I wouldn't expect someone to go and do something that I wouldn't be willing to try myself. And going and doing a 45 to 50 minute zone 2 on a treadmill or a rower is just mind-numbing. So coming up with a different type of stimulus I found was the way to get them engaged. So doing a minute on each, then 2 minutes on each, then 3 minutes on each on a 4 activity. So row, ski, bike, run. And then breaks every minute you've changed in your stimulus, you're going on to a different activity. I think you go up to 5 minutes, then back down again.
Okay, cool.
So depending on the length, or just literally a minute on everything, changes the stimulus so they're not sat willing the time away, and then they can get off, change, and then they're back on the road and think, I've only got a minute on this, and then I'm back again. So it actually keeps their brain ticking over. By the time they've looked at their watch, 45 minutes has passed, they've done zone 2, they've stayed at 60%.
The only time I ever really do zone 2 is when I'm super fatigued and like I just haven't got it in me to do something, and I'll just accept my fate. I'll sit on a bike, get Netflix on, sit on the Stairmaster, Netflix, or I'll just get a podcast or an audiobook on and just accept it, basically. You've got to do it sometimes. You can't go 100%, but I do struggle with it, for sure. Yeah.
I think another success of zone 2 is when you get into this state of, call it like your parasympathetic nervous system. I remember the 2 because sympathetic is essentially like, I sympathise with you because it's like fight or flight. Parasympathetic is the other one where it chills them out a little bit. I've trained in the past quite a few social workers, and they have some very intense situations. So to say to them, right, let's do some zone 2. let's just chill out. You're still moving, but again, put a podcast on. Don't do anything if you don't want. Just take your music out. That, from a stress relieving perspective, is mega, because the job is so hectic, it's so busy, and they want to push themselves, but they're like, no, I can see my heart rate there. I need to chill out. I need to drop the stress, because they don't want to just sit in a bath and just chill out. They want to keep moving. So it's finding
yeah, same. I've coached a lot of people in care, did you say?
Social work. So it's very much like, do these kids stay with the parents or
I've got a girl now, and like, but it's both ends of the spectrum on that job, because they'll have days where, you know, every fucking kid's kicking off and fighting and, you know, causing chaos, and then you'll have days where nothing happens, and it's picking and choosing your moments for that, I think, for sure. I'm just going next with what I love about the fitness industry.
Is there anything, right?
I had to think about this one. No, there's loads. And I'm going to go with something that I think is a bit out there. Joey Swole.
Okay.
I love Joey Swole. I think it's great because he just calls out bullshit all the time. And he calls out people who are doing sketchy stuff in gyms and is a real voice of reason. I think he handles a lot of these situations really well. He's got a little bit mean to a certain degree, because I think some of the people that he calls out, like, they call it the Swole Army now, don't they? They go and like flood their page and give him shit. But some of these people, it's a bit like naughty kids. Like, some kids are just naughty. Like, they need a little bit of a slap around the ear every now and again. And some people are menaces in gyms, and they just cause chaos. And I think it's right that they get called out. And some people don't back down. It's interesting to kind of see how these stories unfold. And they'll do like follow-up videos about how this story is kind of happening over time. And then he posts some lovely things, like if there's a really nice moment in a gym where someone's spotting someone, or whether it's on a back squat. There was one the other week where a girl was struggling on some dumbbells, and you could see the camera was set up, and there was a guy, an old guy behind, and he kind of raises himself off the bench, walks over and helps her out, even though, you know, he didn't really know what he was doing. I thought that's a really nice moment. There's some great things that happen in gyms that kind of go under the radar. And Joey's quite good at bringing that to the surface. So I think he's good on both ends of the spectrum, for sure.
There's not enough of that, is there?
No.
There's always the fails or people calling out, you know, bullshit, but there's not enough of, I was struggling here and this person helped me, or this person commented nicely on what I did, not necessarily how I look, but what I've done, or
there was a really nice video from it must be about 18 months ago on his same page. It was a girl sat in the car and she was crying. And you kind of thought, oh no, it's going to be one of those videos where she's been like called out, someone said something horrible to her. And basically the story unfolded, and she said, I'd seen this guy in the gym, he was big, he was tattooed, and I'm thinking, oh no, what's he said to her? And she goes, one day he just came over and said, I've seen you in here a few times, and I just want to say, you're looking great. I can see what you're doing. You're moving faster, you're lifting more weight, and you're actually looking in better shape. Keep up the good work. And she was just pouring the tears, going, he doesn't know how much that means to me. And I thought, and I'm even getting goosebumps now, like just thinking about how much that means to people, because we coach people like that. We know how much they struggle in gyms, how much they feel like they don't belong. Those moments are so special, and it's so important that we do that. And I've tried to go out my way and do that with a few people that I've seen in the gym. I won't literally beeline it over and be like, you look awesome, mate. I'll just like, if I'm passing them and I'm on like, you know, not in a smile terms, I'll just go, keep up the good work, mate. Or I'll just kind of drop my line and go, you're looking good, yeah. I can see you've lost some weight. I think it's really important we do that, for sure, because it just spreads a message of positivity in the gym. And who knows, they'll feel better for the day. They might come into the gym next time, have a better workout. They suddenly feel confident enough to go and comment on someone else's physique. It's like a little chain reaction of comments and vibes that you set off into a gym, and you've got the power to do that. You've got the power to be negative, but you've also got the power to be really positive.
Doesn't take much to be kind, does it?
No, not at all.
No. There's
but it always feels so foreign to us to be kind, I think. So much more than it does to be negative, for certain people anyway.
I think Americans seem to be much more on the kind scale when they're not, you know, tearing places apart. They seem to be much more positive than maybe what us Brits, Islanders are. Yeah. Which have I ever told you guys about the window test that I do with my clients? I make this very clear early days, and I say, if I want you to imagine you're in the gym training on your own, you don't know where I am, but I'm watching you through the window. I should feel proud from what I'm seeing. And I saw one of my clients do it the other day, where somebody asked if they could jump in a set, And like I was coaching someone else, they didn't really know I was there. They said, yeah, of course. And then they struck up conversation, like what you're training for. And he's literally made quite a good bond with this guy in the gym just from sharing some kit. And he's like, oh, are you in next week? Are you in tomorrow? He's like, yeah, all right, I'll see you then. And it's just really nice because I'm dead proud of that. And I try and express that through my clients as well to say, look, remember how you feel. Pay it forward.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah.
Right, should we go back to things that we hate now? Spin it back to negative.
What are we thinking, Pete?
Pete, anything for you?
I mean, I've got a couple. So my next one I'm going to throw into the room 101 is going to be 1 rep max lifts.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah. Probably because I've never been overly strong myself. So my
I'm
stats
not good at that. I could get in the bin.
Pretty poor, but what's the point? What's the point in doing a 240 deadlift? You know, we've had a conversation earlier during the triple threat when you said that, you know, you did a really heavy deadlift and it tweaked your back and you've not really done a lot since, or certainly hit those figures. I've seen a number of boys in the gym, certainly through my rugby career, where they were going as heavy as they can go and they've spasmed the back. And I'm like, well, now you can't play for 6 weeks. Like, what is the point? It doesn't make you, yes, it makes you strong. It's good for your ego and it's good for the board. You're top of the leaderboard. But from my professional experience in rugby, it didn't make you pass any better. It didn't make you run any better, and you couldn't catch a ball. So I was always like, what's the point? You go and work on your core skills rather than your weight skills, and you might be a better rugby player. So for me, I just never really saw the point. I'd rather lift something well, lift it fluently, and lift it consistently than doing a 1 rep max deadlift that's going to potentially spasm my back, or a bench that goes, why don't you do 140? Congratulations.
I can hear every powerlifter in the world now going, what's he talking about?
But that's my mode of training, has never been a powerlifter. So for powerlifters who, if we've got anybody watching, you know, don't come find me. There is room for that. For me, in my opinion, I don't like it. I don't see the point in it.
Yeah. If it's your sport, and I get that, I think some people like the simplicity of just 1 lift or 3 lifts in a powerlifting competition and just getting really good at those. And I get that. I've been kind of that same mindset. The only time it is quite good as a one-off is, and I do this with certain clients, I did it with a client recently, is we do what's called a 1 rep max baseline. So we just want to have 1 session where we see where you bench, deadlift and squat basically are. So as we go forward and we program certain workouts, we can say, right, this is your 1 RM. If we're doing 3, 5, 10 reps of that same exercise, this is the percent of your 1 RM that we want to hit. So we're getting some baselines for that. I don't do it with a lot of clients because a lot of clients, you know, have ulterior goals. She's particularly strong, this girl. She used to play rugby. She's built like a brick shit house. She's great. And she wants to get really strong. She wants to, you know, promote that side of her physique and strength. So we did a little bit of 1 rep max stuff. But I agree. I think too many people do it on a regular basis, not really knowing that there's other ways to train.
So you use that as a purpose to then program effectively and efficiently for your clients. And I don't know what other people are doing in the gym. I don't know whether they're doing that to then set their percentage lifts for the next few weeks. But as you say, you see people doing it regularly, lifting as heavy as they can, week after week after week. And there is purpose for it. For me, it just doesn't sit well with me. I just don't see the point.
Even powerlifters, though, won't do 1 rep max stuff often. They only ever really do it as a baseline or in competition, you know, for sure.
You can do all that with a 3 rep max. I love a 3 rep max because it gives you the margin for error. If you do 1 rep and go, that was quite heavy actually, I could probably do 1 more. You go, all right, try it.
Yeah.
And if they can do it and they go, I definitely can't do a 3rd, I'm like, cool. All right, we now have your 2.
And that's it. So congratulations, you've done 1 rep. Congratulations, now can you do it again?
Yeah.
Okay, you've got another one. So then getting people to actually go, no, I can go further here.
But you can still work a 1 rep max percentage out from a 3 rep max.
Yes.
So why would you even risk a 1 rep if you don't need to? So I'm fully with you on that.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had it before where people have done like, this is your 3 rep max. Studies show us that this should be 1 rep max. We had like, I don't know, a 1 kilo either side, and like, I can't even lift that for 1. It doesn't always equate that way. It's so different person to person. I've seen it on the other end where they can get something like, there was a guy recently, a strongman. He did lifting 400 kilos for 8 reps. And then he did a video about it. He goes, if I put a 10 kg each side and go 420, I can't lift it for 1. I can't even lift it for 1 rep, but I can lift 400 for 8. How does that work? Why can I not lift? But there was a breaking point. He could he was really good at that 400 and he could shift it several times. But 420 wouldn't even go for 1.
Wow.
Maybe he's not had his Neubria.
Yeah, Neubria play. That's what he needs. Maybe he's having the wrong one. He's having the Neubria pause. That's what it was.
Must be
Just to remind us not to invite him to the triple threat session.
What we call that? Quad something.
God knows.
I'll come up with a name for that.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I'm hesitant about this one just because I know Ryan's done them in the past.
Oh no!
I feel like we've got a 2v1 battle going on today.
I'm really hesitant. I've got reaction videos just because I'm bored of them. Like 2 people I think doing really well, apart from Ryan, is Dr. Ids. I love Dr. Ids. I know Shane Nugent's a big fan of him as well. And Ben Carpenter. I think they both try and spread positive message.
Yeah.
But most people, I don't really care about your reaction to what Eddie Abu thinks about eggs. I'm not bothered. I really don't care. I'm like, we can all, just don't give him any more airtime. Why are you reacting to stuff? Why are you making his message more mainstream by you commenting on it? I don't care. Why are we even bothering projecting these people? So
the funny thing is, I think they're very compelling.
They are, and I think that's the issue. Like, I'm a big believer in if you want to change the game, you've got to play the game a little bit. But it's knowing that you can do that to different standards. And
do you follow Brett Contreras?
Yeah.
He's been doing a lot more of these recently, where he's been taking people, influencers especially, who have posted videos online or made claims about kind of certain leg or glute exercises, and he watches the video and then he gives his opinion. And I'll be honest, I really like them. I think he gives a really well-rounded opinion of like these kind of videos that are either complete bullshit or really good. And he's a good figure in the industry. But I think because he's respected, because he's got, the knowledge and the resume and CV to back it up, you really respect his opinion on things. Most people maybe shouldn't be commenting on things because you're right. I do see a lot of people who will just jump on the bandwagon of those reaction videos.
There's a food chain, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
there's a food chain there. If Brett does it, cool, whatever. Some people you might click on. I always click on their page, which is really frustrating and annoying. I'm just like, we tagged this person, or that's the video. I'll always go on their page, and I don't know why. It's like a weird impulse that I've got. Yeah, and it really annoys me because I'm like, whereas if someone's calling out somebody who's higher up that chain, that to me seems like a bit of rage bait, which, whilst I'm on it as well, just because I absolutely hate the supermarket videos, where like, don't drink this is full of crap.
Oh, God,
like, do you know, if I saw that in Asda, I think I'd just kick over the tripod.
Would you get involved?
I actually think I would. Yeah, seriously. I've never seen it, but I actually think I'd get involved because I'd be like, what are you doing? Like, why are we doing this? This seems really fear-mongering.
And I just don't like for viral.
What should we watch?
Just do our own video for viral. Kick it over.
I'm not a fan of it. And I just think anyone who's sort of doing that, just ask yourself why. Just please.
Again, it's reaction. But the supermarket videos have got a great reaction. Eddie Abu has got millions of followers because he went into supermarkets and called out kind of what we already knew. We already knew there was a lot of processed shit. We already knew it caused some issues. But is it going to kill you like he's saying it is? No. But the more he highlights the fact that it might kill you, oh shit, now it's grabbing attention. And I think he was an easy target, Eddie Abu, wasn't he, for sure?
I saw one guy do it, and he's calling out oat milk. And he's like, look, first ingredient, water. And I'm like, well, if the first ingredient was oats, it wouldn't be a drink, you pleb. And I'm like, why are we even giving these people attention? I'm like, why are we doing it? It just really annoys me.
They'll pick out, you can go for this drink, and you can probably pick out things that maybe aren't optimal or potentially damaging, but everything has something in it now. And I think you've got to pick your poison. And is bread better than Haribo's and pizzas and burgers? Yeah, probably is. If we have it in certain quantities, it's just having a nice spread. And I think we lose sight of that overall picture and message that we're trying to get across. It's not about picking out the finites. It's about the macro, not the micro. And we're obsessing over the micro now. Get your macros in order.
I think it shows what people value. If you value reaction and attention, cool, keep doing it. But if you actually want to make a bit of a change and help people, then you probably need to think about what you're doing.
I think the best account for that is the Fitness Chef. So Graham, I don't know his surname, Scottish guy,
Yeah.
couple of million
come across
followers.
this guy
Just
before.
you take the bread out of a sandwich. You've got a messy salad. He's like, he said it's not a sandwich. You eat a sandwich. Is it going to cause you harm? No. Crack on. Calls out all these. I love his videos. I share them a lot because it just makes sense.
Yeah.
He's like, stop being boring and do. I have a philosophy of, when people don't know where to start with fitness and exercise and nutrition, and there's like a thought bubble coming out of the head, like ERMM, where do I start? And people might ridicule me for this, but eat right, move more. If you think it's right, eat right. Eat what you think is right. 40, it's 80-20 split. If you're eating 20% crap and 80% good, then okay, we all do. I'm a sucker for hobnobs in an evening. I'll have them all the time. I've got a sweet tooth. But I try and eat well the most of the time, and I move more. We're generally going to see progress. I think there's too many people overthinking calorie counting, overthinking macros. Can't have that, the macros. The macros aren't really going to affect you. The macros, maybe lower your carbohydrate a little bit, maybe up your protein. But just stop over confusing it for people. Just do, everybody loves bread, don't they, really?
Yeah,
Good tasting.
Agreed. And some people, it really doesn't agree with them, and they have to be quite careful how much they have. But for most people, you can factor something into your diet on a regular basis.
Yeah.
I always ask the question, why? Like, why are we confused? Because we've got so much information available, but then it's sort of been like everyone's fighting for attention. So if you're a consumer, going back to my other point about people just valuing attention too much, it's not helping. Like, it's relatively simple, isn't it, to get in shape and, like you said, the eat right, move more. I'd quite like a simple analogy or a simple anagram, just so you can put it together and say, yeah, that makes sense. But the confusing thing is maybe the message that's being pumped by the majority of our space, which is give me attention, listen to me, I'm going to shout from the rooftops, and if that's what game you're playing, that's what game you'll value.
Yeah.
But
It's all, I think there's a weird game you can play online now where the more outrageous your message and the more you're willing to push the boundaries in terms of your polarising views, the more attention you're going to get. And potentially, unfortunately, the more money you're going to make. It's very monetising. People follow you. You're going to get a nice audience of people who just think like you. And you're kind of niching down a little bit. When you look at some of the numbers that Eddie Abu's making now from his programmes and coaching, it's pretty frightening. But I think that in the long run, it's a bit like, I use Liver King as a really good example. He had a shelf life. He had a time period where everyone was like, okay, let's eat like a caveman. Let's do all these things. Let's live by these. He had these like 8 tenets that he lived by. But then it all came and gone.
Yeah.
He got called out for being on steroids. It came out that he wasn't following the tenets because he wasn't looking after his family. He was banging gear to look good. He was doing a lot of things that just went against his original message, and you lose trust of your audience there. And I think Eddie Abu's going down that same way, and there's going to be a bit of a kind of change over there. I mean, I haven't heard from him a lot recently on social media, so his stuff's not popping up on my feed anymore. So
I unfollowed him.
Did you?
Yeah.
Really?
It was making me...
Maybe I did actually.
I was too conscious of what I was hearing. I thought, you know what, I want to have an egg wrap for my breakfast. You're saying I don't have a wrap because of all the preservatives in it. Why is it lasting 3 weeks? I was like, you know what? Flipping like I'm at the house at 5:15 on a Tuesday morning. I want an egg and ham wrap before I go because I can take it in the truck. I can drive off. I can eat it as I'm going. I'm not going to worry about is it going to kill me, because you know what? It's probably not, because I'm quite fit and healthy. It's generally all right.
Yeah.
And I think these people are doing this clickbait stuff. I don't think they're genuine. No. I don't think the three of us in the room do things through. I certainly have 2 keywords in my business, and my personal kind of goal would be to do everything with kindness, which we go back to earlier. Be kind. Give people the kudos that they want, but also to do things with thankfulness. Be thankful for the opportunity presented. Whereas a lot of people in the industry, I think, are starting to become greedy and monetize things, and a lot of these things are just clickbait for money. And actually, if you were to dive into their DNA, are they actually doing it for the right purpose, or are they solely doing it to make as much money as they can because they think that their careers have got a lifespan or a shelf life for a couple of years and then they're out of the industry? I'd suggest that that's probably the case.
I think it's all where your personal morals stand as well. A lot of people are willing to sell themselves a little bit with a polarising message that maybe they don't fully believe in themselves. I watched a fucking great documentary on Netflix. Brilliant. It was about a girl called, what's her name now? Belle something from America. I'll pull it up. But she basically was a fitness influencer, very early days of Instagram, and she essentially came online and she was saying, right, I've got this brain tumour and I'm starting to move away from conventional medication for it, so chemotherapy, and I'm going for like green juices and I feel great. And she's then started kind of putting all this stuff online about these meals she was making. She ended up getting a massive audience very early on in Instagram, and then she sold a book called The Whole Pantry, which had all their meals in there. It blew up in kind of like the cancer community, and people were struggling with it and recovering from it. They were having their meals. Some of them were moving away from kind of the more conventional medicine as well and having her stuff. She then came out with another post along the line saying, I've got even more cancer now. I've got it in my blood and my spleen and all this stuff. And then it came out that the first kind of check mark for her was that fact that she said she was going to pay a certain percentage of her book revenue to charities. That never came through. The charities basically called out and said, you haven't paid us. And she was like, okay, it's fine. I just had some things going on. I'll pay you, no worries. Then a journalist caught wind of the fact that she might not have cancer.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so he interviewed her. He sat down and her story basically was, I essentially got misdiagnosed potentially, and I'm not sure yet. I'm waiting for the kind of results to come back, and I trusted this guy. I'm not sure how the validity of it. And he was like, what's the doctor's name? What was the hospital's name? I'll go and search the record. She was like, I don't know, the paperwork's at home. And then he just thought, oh shit, it's all bullshit. And then she actually came out that she'd essentially lied about it all. Some of her friends that were close to her at the time realised it and tried to call her out, but she was having none of it. She had a kind of an app as well online with Apple, big sponsorship deal with Apple. It was Penguin that published her book. She was making millions off this stuff. And then you think about all the people that potentially said no to conventional medicine and cancer treatment for her recipes when she never even had it. And the issue was, they had a lot on the documentary, there was a lot of cancer patients on there, and they were saying, I at moments in the depth of my cancer felt like shit, looked like shit, and I just felt like I was never going to be like Belle. I wanted to be like Belle. How could she look so good with cancer? She was smashing it. She was an idol, but it made me feel worse that I wasn't. I was eating her meals and not looking like her. I couldn't get it. And they were like, now I get it. And actually at the end spoke to like a specialist, a real cancer specialist in Australia. And she had like a malignant brain tumour, she said. And one of the specialists around brain tumours said that if she had that, the chances of her living past 6 months would be pretty rare. And she was at like 5-6 years, now, without kind of popping her clogs. Wow. And then they said, well, what happened if she had the malignant brain tumour and then got blood, spleen and liver cancer as well? And they went, well, she wouldn't be able to talk, basically. After 2 or 3 months, she'll be completely bedbound and unable to kind of interact with anyone. She'd be on life support. Wow. And then they said, well, this is the girl kind of doing it. This is her photo. And she's been like that for 3 years now. What do you think? And she went, I don't know. I can't see her medical records, but from my experience, it doesn't seem legit.
So we're putting her in room 101.
Yeah. Throw away the cheek.
She could definitely go in. But it also, at the end, kind of, the documentary ends and it says, look, that's one person from a long time ago. Think how many people do that on a smaller scale. Like, it even came out that Belle, I can't remember her second name now, but she was essentially like drinking and smoking and doing a lot of things when she was going out as well. And that's not someone who had cancer. No. But how many people, again, live like these kind of fake lives online and preach a certain thing, but don't live it themselves. And I think it's about being truthful and honest with what you do online.
At risk of going really deep with this now, when my dad had cancer and we sort of suspected it was terminal, as soon as words palliative were issued, I would have done anything to help him and try and save him. So from a family perspective, if I'd have come across Belle's message, I guarantee I'd have, 1,000,000%. I'd have given her a lot of money probably for the information. So that speaks to me on quite a deep level. That
it's hard, isn't it, when you know, and when it's family members and some even her close friends said, like, I can't believe she lied about it, but they actually went back into her history from when she was younger, and what they found was she had a history of going into forums and saying she had like different issues, and she said she had like, she had a cardiac a cardiologist tell her she needs a heart surgery. She'd claimed she had open heart surgery in the past. So she had this history of going and lying about illnesses. And I think it all stemmed back to her relationship with her mum and not feeling loved and wanting people's attention. And really harsh that she ran with this. Obviously got a real big movement from it online on Instagram. People started following her and she got just really deep in it. And she did a 60 minutes interview with someone and they called her out and said, you know, have you ever had chemotherapy? Do you feel like you've had cancer? And then she wouldn't accept it. She wouldn't admit she was lying. She just said, at the time, I thought I did. And it's not the time to do that. You've got to just come clean and be honest. And she actually lied about her age as well. She said she was like, I think 5-6 years younger than she actually was. It was wild. The whole story was wild. I mean, honestly, lads, watch it because it's brilliant. And we find her now. I'll Google it now.
Like, obviously, that talks to you on a very personal level, Brad. Doesn't that just go to show that for the general population entering the fitness industry, for people that we train, how much misinformation is out there to get people moving effectively? You know, remedies that clearly don't work, but would have drained a lot of money from people who are seriously in that world where they will do anything to protect their spouse, their family, their parents. It's all lies. And when people are looking at, you know, someone coming into the industry that goes online and sees Eddie in the supermarket talking about eggs or whatever, and then they come to us and I'm like, well, I can't have eggs. I'm like, what do you mean you can't have eggs? Why not? Well, because it's too much well, I can have eggs. Well, you know, where do I start? And there's just so much disinformation that that's why people can't start in the gym or the fitness industry, because they don't know what to do.
It's overwhelming.
Because Instagram's overwhelming.
Loads of clients like that where they come onto the consultation call and they say, I'm really into health and fitness. I pride myself on being kind of conscious of what I eat, what I consume, how I move, and I'm kind of, my feed's flooded with stuff, but there's so much conflicting evidence out there. And then you get someone like this who's just a complete charlatan. Belle Gibson was the name, Australian health fraudster, it says on Instagram.
I'll put her in my bin.
Former influencer,
Get her in there.
pseudoscience advocate. She's the author of the Whole Pantry mobile app and its later companion cookbook. She went so deep on it. She claimed to be like a fitness and wellness guru, when really it was all just predicated off a lie.
Would anyone ever class himself as a guru? Because I think if you do, you need to go in a lamp somewhere.
Well,
Just
I'm
live in a cave.
Well, not now.
I've been doing this for 10 years and I don't think I'm a guru. There's loads of shit that I just don't know. I'm still learning every week. I know a lot, for sure. Probably forgotten more than most people know, but I'm still not a guru. No doubt about it.
Who have we got next? Who's up?
Oh, is it me? I think it's me for my my most hated. Oh, saddling, lads. Let me pull it back up.
Strap in, boys.
Don't say mobile fitness businesses.
People who travel around and just do what they want. No, my next one is, so obviously I've been doing quite a few of these high roxes, so my feed now and reels are completely filled with high rocks based stuff, and there's a little fraction of reels that I've started to see come through, and it's basically CrossFitters taking the piss out of high roxers. And it is, I'm not gonna lie, it's quite funny. I do quite enjoy a lot of them, because let's be honest, it isn't as technical as CrossFit high rocks. No. It is a lot more cardio based. A lot of runners generally tend to do better. Track and field athletes who got a good amount of strength and can whip around a track do amazing at it. So it's very tailored to a certain type of athlete. I think the fact it's the same is very easy to train for, or easier to train for, because you know what's coming in the same order. CrossFit is like, turn up, see what's what, this is what we're doing today kind of thing. So I think there's a lot of differences. But I just think about the overall message of that, and like, people who train, essentially taking the piss out of people who train.
Yeah.
Like, it's really hard to get up in the morning at 6 a.m. and go for a run, no matter what sport you do. It's hard to eat clean 80-90% of the time, no matter what sport you do. It's hard to go to bed early, get your vitamins in, look after the micronutrients, no matter what sport you do. There's so many things that are hard to do, and we're just there taking the piss out of someone because they don't train in the gym for that kind of small period of the day and week like I do. But a lot of things they do will be the same. They'll eat well, they'll train hard. It's just a kind of a very negative message that I want to move away from. Something I think Room 101 would love.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fair.
I think we're all in this together, aren't we?
Yeah, 100%.
Shouting out the powerlifters that I'm putting in, they can come back out.
But don't get me wrong, I think the reels are funny. I think it obviously gets a good engagement online, which is why you're seeing more of it. But I don't want there to be this. I don't ever want there to be like a divide between two things that are actually quite similar. It's a bit like I was dead into golf a few years ago, and there was the PGA and then Live Golf came out, and there's this huge battle. But I'm like, yeah, but you're all just golfers. You know what I mean? You're all just doing the same thing. Like, why are we not promoting like? And you look in as a non-golfer sometimes and go, what the hell's all this about? You're just playing golf in different tournaments. It's a bit of nonsense. People who train or who don't train, looking in the CrossFit versus High Rocks thing, go, well, you're basically doing a lot of the same exercises, just not in the same format. You're all training like savages and getting up early and, you know, doing all your kind of crazy stuff. It seems more wild when you look outside and in.
Well, a lot of High Rocks gyms are in CrossFit boxes as well.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
they share the same space, and you've got a divide going on. It's like, really?
But I think that's probably why it's fueled it, because in the same CrossFit gym, you're going to get the natural CrossFitters who've done it for years, and the High Rock sessions coming in, and the guys going to be stood there aside going, look at these High Rock guys, they don't know what they're doing. Go and try and clean, pal.
Have you got a High Rock sticker on your bag?
I've got a couple now, mate. I'm gaining in patches. I'll have 3 in a couple of weeks when I go to
you can have a fitness truck
Glasgow.
patch for you back. I've got them in the truck. Yeah,
I'll have one, mate.
We'll get them out.
Yeah. I've actually got some R5 ones that aren't stuck on yet. They're only little tiny ones. How big's your fitness truck one?
Big enough.
Is it?
Yeah.
I'm not going to take up my whole...
You can either have the fitness truck, or we've got one that says truck off.
Truck off.
Yeah.
Ooh. I'll have a little look on the side. Yeah.
There we go.
Love that.
Right, should we go to things... In fact, what time are we on? Are we doing okay for time?
Seem to be. Just give it another
10 minutes.
5 or 10 minutes. Yeah.
All right, quick rip round of things that we like now. Something that we are like in the industry. Anything you've got lined up, lads?
Oh, things that we like. I'm on a very negative hype on my notes
I've
right
got
now.
mine are all negative.
Should we go one more round of
One more
negative?
negative vibe.
Yeah.
All right, go on then.
12-week transformations.
One of mine was 8 weeks, so I feel like we can share this.
So I've had a couple of mates do it, and for the photo shoots that we came into earlier, so it all kind of ends in that 12-week photo shoot. For me, it doesn't instill good habits. I've got a client who was approached by a 12-week transformation company locally, will remain nameless.
I know exactly who you're going to say as well.
And they tried to get her to leave my services. They got her to try to pay for their services on a credit card because she couldn't afford it, but they said pay it on a credit card. They actually told her to stop saving for her wedding and pay for this instead. And completely belittled her in front of people. So she got in the car and just burst out crying and rang me and showed me all the messages. And they said that we can make you lose this weight in 12 weeks. And I said, this isn't a 12-week journey for this individual client. This is a lifetime change that we're looking to do. So for a lot of people, when they go into these 12-week transformations, yes, it might kickstart a habit, but for a lot of time, it's unsustainable. And they get to the end of it. The guy that I knew had a photo shoot. He's never felt so tired, weak, had no energy. I just don't think that they really work. For us trying to instill habitual changes for people for lifelong changes, the transformation companies, I have to be careful not to drop, need to assess what they're doing and why they're doing it. Again, I feel like it's clickbait. Look at our quick transformation. Here's the client photo. Look at what we do. Look how amazing we are. Whereas that person at the end of the 12 week hasn't then got a key set of skills to continue. And it really cheeses me off, to be honest.
I'm not going to say the name, but I think I know who you mean. If it is the person I think you're referring to, they have a real hard line on sales, for sure, 100%. I've had a lot of his old clients. And the people who've got prerequisite issues, whether it's like dodgy knees and hips, they really don't care about that. I've had a few people come to me and were like, yeah, they messed me up for 6 months afterwards, that program, because I didn't want to do a pendulum squat. I told them I had bad knees, but it was insistent that's what I needed to do. It was in the program. And the programs are set from the top and they're given down to the coaches underneath, and everyone just follows the same program. And they've got a blueprint, but the blueprint, as we know, isn't going to work for everyone. And people are going to have, like I said, prerequisite issues, things that need to kind of be programmed very particularly and carefully based on their bodies and physiques. And there's no real care and attention on a lot of these 12-week transformations for that. I think you can, with a lot, I've had clients who've got phenomenal results in 12 weeks and they've wanted to push it. And I think there's a certain type of person who maybe but it is a very small fraction of the clientele who are actually, they've got no issues. They're okay kind of ramping it up. Their personal work, family life allows them to kind of fit these sessions in, and we can pretty much go for it. But I'd say 80%, 85% of people just don't need that approach. They need a more like longer, nuanced, habit instilling approach that's going to be, for the rest of the life. The one thing I say to every client on the consultation call is, I don't want you to finish this program and can't wait to get back to your old life. If you tell me when do we stop, I can't. If you can't wait for that 12 weeks to be up, we've not done our job right,
and we're not for each other.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure.
The sad thing is for me, I don't think you two are talking about the same program/person.
We'll discuss.
I think they're different. Yeah.
We'll discuss it off podcast.
Yeah. Just because that's the sad thing for me. Because if this was just one company who was being unethical, but it's not. I think it's. There seems to be a lot at large. Yeah. So that's the sad thing for me. And I wrote something last week about it takes no skill to press on pain points. If you think about a doctor, does it hurt there? And they just like stick their finger in a wound. It's like that takes zero skill. Whereas if they've got amazing bedside manner, if they say, right, can you explain to me where it hurts? Where's this? Where's that? That's how potentially coaching should work. With there's a lot of pain point identification, and you can use it to either make a sale, make them feel like rubbish, and get loads of money out of them, or you can highlight it and say, cool, you've brought the awareness to it. Let's actually formulate a plan that you're comfortable with.
Yeah. So good analogy that I really like that, because if you're a doctor and you've got this drug that you really want to sell, it's your business and it's how you're making most of your money. Yeah. If you go into a client into the patient's room and just poke on it and go, that is the issue, right? And they're going, well, I've got this thing right now, we can get rid of it right here if you really want it. They're obviously going to buy it because they're just pushing on this thing and paying for it.
Is it Ozempic?
Yeah, Ozempic.
That's a whole other conversation.
Manjaro. Yeah. But they wouldn't be in room 101 for me. We've had big conversations about that.
Interesting.
Yeah. Do you want to discuss that now, quickly?
Have we got time?
5 minutes. Let's go over what your thoughts on whether would weight loss injections go in room 101 for you?
I'll go with my heart.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. There's no right or wrong.
There isn't. I can understand why they might work for certain individuals of a certain BMI.
Yeah.
I've got a client who's a leading gastrointestinal surgeon, and he deals with a lot of obese clients. And for the larger population, it could work to get them started. Unfortunately, I think it's been marketed to your average Joe who's sat in an office, who wants to lose half a stone for Christmas, stops at Christmas, cracks on with the turkey and the booze, and then kicks on again in the new year. And I don't think it's instilling good habits, because we're all in the fitness industry. We don't want people to be lazy. And I think it's a lazy solution for long-term health.
Are you saying that pharmaceutical companies aren't specifically marketed to the right individuals? They try and get a mass audience and market?
No comment.
There's something called the trans method stages of change model. I've definitely messed that up. But the stages of change model, Ozempic or these weight loss drugs, seem to catch people on that stages of change when they're not quite ready yet. So there's pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation, action. These people should probably have this jab when they're ready to take action, but a lot of people are probably caught at contemplation, where they're not really considering any other options. This is all they want to do. So I honestly think there's a potential there for it if it's done right, but it doesn't seem to be done right. Surprise, surprise.
So would you put it in the room 101?
For context, I have to take a fortnightly injection for my rheumatoid arthritis condition. If I didn't have to take that, I wouldn't. So anything exogenous, I wouldn't. If I could wipe the floor with everything and be like, if you don't have to take it, don't, I would explore that first, personally.
My thoughts? There's a 96% chance that if you take Ozempic, you'll put the weight back on when you stop. That's what the stats say. So it doesn't work, basically, in the long term. It's only working when people are on it. But this is the thing. It does work, right? It's helping people lose weight, okay? So there's something there I think we can work with. And I said this on the podcast when we covered it a few months ago. I can see a way where the pharmaceutical companies and coaches or health practitioners come together and they say, right, we're going to take your bigger people, or we're going to put them on this drug to get the kind of stimulus there, to get them in a better frame of mind, to give them that impetus to lose weight and build motivation, like something's happening, great. But alongside that, we're going to instill habits. We're going to have another side to the program where the two work together, where, yes, we've got this thing that's losing weight, but we're also going to combine it with a program you're on where you're working on your habits. And what is there going to, what again, if someone was to do it successfully and we were to mass market this, what would be the percentages of people who then stick to it? That's what I'd like to know. That's my stance on it. And that's why I wouldn't put it in room 101, because it works. It just isn't working in the right way. We've got something that on paper, the stats are saying it's making people lose weight, but there's no program to back it up. No one's giving you a Manjaro or Ozempic injection and then saying, right, this is what I wanted to go and work on with your health, with your nutrition, with your training, with your movement. There's none of that, right? So we have this kind of Manjaro or Ozempic look now where you're going and like, I had someone whose husband went on this recently and she goes, Ryan, he lost like 13 kilos in 8 weeks. And she goes, I hug him now, and he's just soft. He's just like nothing to him. Like before he was bigger, but he was dense. I could put my arms. Now I feel like I hug him, and there's like a blobbiness to him that which wasn't like there before. It's because it's when you lose that amount of weight in a short period of time, not only are you losing body fat, but your muscles atrophy. So there's nothing dense and hard there. And from a health point of view, it's really, really bad to lose that kind of weight in a short period of time. So it works. We're just not working it in the right way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any closing comments from you, Pete? 'Cause I know we've got to shoot off, and just to highlight as well, Pete is the first ever repeat guest that we've had. And
is he? This is also episode number 60.
Is it?
Yeah. Nice. Whether that's a kind of a landmark, it's not really anymore, is it?
it's a landmark to have had Pete back on. But,
no, so I'm really pleased to come back. I didn't, I thought that you were a one in, one out type thing, and I'm back. So
we've always said we want some repeat guests on, and it kind of seemed like a perfect opportunity. Obviously, we trained together today, and again, thank you for coming on, mate.
We're actually going to create a WhatsApp group for Triple Threat, aren't we? So hopefully we can. I always tell people try and do it. Maybe try and get it to once every 6 months or so, because we're all busy with kids.
I think that's pretty good. Yeah, once every 6 months.
And I use it as a bit of a research method, to be honest, because with our corporate sessions we do kind of functional group training. So the sessions that you bring in, I actually value and evaluate to see how did they feel. We were talking about the EMOMs earlier. Are they sustainable for us? No. But can we change it to make it accessible for our clients? So whenever I go into a group class with you guys as well, so I'm always kind of taking nuggets of information. It was really helpful, so I really, really appreciate the invite and love the session.
I agree with that. It's ideas. I always lead our sessions with ideas that I can use with clients, things like that. So mega lads, thank you for it, and mate, thank you on.
Thank you,
Pete.
Pete.
Boys, awesome. And should we wrap it up there?
Yeah, where can people find you, Pete, if they want to check out the amazing work you're doing with the fitness truck?
So if you Google the fitness truck, and you'll come up there, or on our social channels on LinkedIn, Instagram, or Facebook at the fitness truck.
Amazing. And this podcast has been fueled by Neubria.
The table's littered with these cans. Yeah, it's Neubria. They did quite a few. We've got the Play here, which is obviously the energy, and then we've got the Pause, which is the relaxing one. Yeah, for sure. Cool. Any other products that they do?
They do a multivitamin natural drink that I have in powder format most mornings to replace my caffeine, and then a number of kind of collagen shots and other things for pregnancy.
Great. And they'll obviously just search Neubria on his site.
Or in Holland and Barrett.
Holland and Barrett, yeah.
There we go.
Big moves.
Amazing.
Guys, thank you for joining us on the Fit Dads podcast. We'll see you in the next one.
See you soon.
Mate, awesome. Thank you.
Appreciate you, mate.
Brilliant.
Appreciate it.
On today.